Hello, good morning or good evening to my all friends. My name is VR Sharma. I'm the Managing Director of Jindal Steel and Power India. We have 8.5 million ton of steel manufacturing capacity in India, and we are adding another 5 million ton capacity now. By 2024, we will be a company having around 15 million ton total steel manufacturing capacity. Primarily, we are a infrastructure steel manufacturing company. We produce rails, we produce head-hardened rails for metro rails and also for the heavy haul rails. We also produce rails for the passenger tracks and heavy weight or heavy axle load tracks. We are also producing the specialty angle irons for power grid corporations or the transmission towers. We produce angles as big as 250 by 250 by 40 millimeter thick. We also produce beams, UC UV beams up to 900 millimeter web size. We also produce wire rods, sheet piles. We are in hot rolled coils. We are in plates, the specialty plates for boiler applications, for the warships, for the merchant ships, and also for the cryogenic tanks. So these are our specialties. Basically, we produce wire rods for specialty applications for the forging for automobile industry, and also the round billets or cast billets for seamless pipes. We also produce rounds for the forging industry, and now we are entering into an expansion of more than 5.5 million ton, where we will be producing hot rolled coils, cold rolled coils, galvanized, color coated, primarily the flat steel business. Our total mix is around 50% of flat and 50% of long products. Large manufacturer of steel. We have a plan. The government of India has a plan to reach to 300 million ton of steel manufacturing by 2030, and we are on it. I'm sure the steel industry will grow at the rate of 10 to 15% YOY in times to come. Of course, today the total capacity installed is about 125 million ton, whereas the utilization due to various reasons like COVID or the raw material shortage, it was up to 110 million ton. So we feel that in times to come, the utilization will increase, will improve, and more and more infrastructure projects will come in the country, like railways, water, transmission towers, and of course the healthcare system. We are working today as to how to reduce the CO2 emission, as our Prime Minister has given a commitment in Italy last G20 summit, that we are going to cut down CO2 at a drastic level. And by 2070, we want to be carbon free or carbon neutral country. Having a population of 1.4 billion people, and by the time 2070, I think more than 2 billion. So it will be really a big challenge how to make country as carbon neutral country or zero CO2 emitting country. So, but yes, we are working how to do it, and we are on it. We are adding hydrogen facilities, green hydrogen, green energy. We are also converting at the moment the coal to gas, that is coal to uh, uh, CO, and coal to syngas, that is, and also coal to SNG. So now this is the time when next 20, 30 years we can convert coal into very highly valuated products where the dependence on fossil fuel is reduced significantly. So this will help economy to grow. This will create a lot of jobs, and side by side, this will also reduce the carbon footprint from existing 2.5 ton per ton of steel making. That is 2.5 ton is CO2 and 1 ton of steel. This will bring down from 2.5 to 1.8 tons of CO2 per ton of steel making, which is a significant reduction. So we are working on all these technologies, how to reduce CO2 emission, how to utilize more and more byproducts so that we don't emit a lot of CO2. For example, steel mills, uh, they produce slag, and the blast furnace slag is being utilized to make a composite cement, where the clinker's requirement is reduced by 50%. Normally, the clinker is used 65% in cement, 35% is fly ash. But with the composite cement now, all three are in the same ratio, say like 30 to 35% each. And we can reduce the carbon footprint to a great extent, say up to zero point 0.3 tons per ton of cement making, because the requirement of clinker will reduce to half. So instead of using 65% clinker, we'll be using only 30 or 32% clinker. So this is a great development in our country, and hopefully the other countries are also doing a similar way, or they'll be adopting the overall CO2 footprint policy adopted by any of the countries in the world. So we are also working very closely how to consume less. You see, the time has come now to start thinking consume less. Consume less means less CO2 emission. We should consume less electricity, we should consume less water, we should consume less gadgets in our house, we should consume less fossil fuels, we should consume less the carbon emitting or CO2 emitting products like SNG or like LNG or propane. We should reduce the consumption of minerals, because the world is limited with the minerals. We know the reserves are always limited. Population is increasing. We are today maybe 7.5 billion or maybe 7.6 billion people. Tomorrow we may become 8.5 or 9 billion people. So if we don't consume less, then it will be too less tomorrow. So we have to think worldwide that we should consume less. It does not mean when we consume less, then the production will come down and the economy will become standstill. No, it is not the case. If we consume less, we'll make a better tomorrow in terms of environment. We will have a habit of saving. We'll have a habit of protecting the environment. We'll have a habit of respecting the natural resources, and we will live a better life. Ultimately, all governments in the world, they are working to enhance the living standard of the people. So the living standard of the people can be enhanced only by consuming less, not by consuming more. So that is the sorry. So that is the way forward. What we are taking in Jindal, JSPL, and hopefully we will be working with this philosophy, how to emit less CO2 and how to consume less, so that we do not make waste and we do not eat away the world resources faster. So the resilience has to be shown by the industry. It has to be shown by different governments. We have to see that we don't build or we don't make over infrastructure for the people. The infrastructure to usage ratio should be somewhere about 1 is to zero point 0.8 or maybe zero point 0.7. It should not be zero point 0.5 or 0.35 or 0.40. And it should not also be at 1 is to 1.2 or 1.5. If it is 1 is to 1.2 or 1.5, then people are deprived of the facilities what they deserve. And if it is 1 is to zero point 0.5 or zero point 0.6 or below, that means the infra is surplus, and that is a wastage. So the today's message from my side is reduce CO2, reduce total carbon footprint, and consume less. If we consume less, we save more. If we save more, we are happy. So thank you very much. All the best.